Hey everyone, it's Fatman here, and notice how we got a epic match yesterday. It was pretty good. TSM versus 100 Thieves. That was the most amazing match. I think there's a lot of things we can actually learn from this match. And before I start a video, if you could subscribe, that would definitely help me out a lot in all aspects. But what I'm gonna be doing is actually reviewing the VOD. I fully installed it. That was a lot of space size, and actually looking into it and what could be improved. I think, like, if you look at the VODs that the pros use, or well, how pros actually play, you can actually see how to win the more matches in Valorant. It's pretty much this simple. Like, these pros, they know everything. They basically know all the spots, all the, how to react. Game sense is super important in Valorant as well, and I think this could potentially help you a lot. Now we're looking into Ascent over here, and as you can notice, if we zoom on the minimap over here, like, notice how they're all playing 3A. That's because they have the basic info. They have the basic info that somebody is on mid, and it's very much likely that they're not gonna be split up, but they still have a jet just in case there. Now the Cypher over here is just ready for rotation, and as soon as the smokes drop down on the mid, that's immediately how they knew that it's gonna be a strong B push. It's either gonna be a B or mid push. Like, they gathered so much info on the B side anyway. I meant mid or the A push anyway. They gathered so much info on the B side that they know it's not gonna be B, and that makes it an immediate rotation. And this is a beautiful pistol. Look at this. I guess they really made a comeback because they made a mistake. Someone did not kill someone at short, and that basically made it really bad really bad for them, to be honest, because it went immediately from a one-man advantage to one-man disadvantage. That was just a lucky shot over here. But if we look over here, they immediately know that they can't be short. They already pushed in short. They cleared out the site, so be sure to do that. Actually clear out the site and look into that, and now they can get the pistol. Like, this is basic sense. A lot of people in pubs don't understand. If you're watching this, I think it's pretty much important to note how important plays like this are. It actually changes a lot of this stuff. Like, whoa, I'm just speechless. Now the Cypher over here, that's TSM Hazed. He actually doesn't go for a straight push to gather info, but instead uses the abilities he has. This could be for a specific agent. In that manner, he used Cypher Scam, which made him, like, one-man advantage is very much important. Like, sometimes it even turns around the game just because of the way economy works. But look at this. Look at what Jet does. She slowly tries to back off. Now, she did get picked off, and this is what 100 Thieves did really good. So she got a kill, and she backs off. This is like a very good situation, because then what happens if you don't back off? You usually get traded, and you don't want that to happen, to be honest. Like, this is crazy. Now, you see what happens is a 4v3. They're still at advantage. They have a lot of info where they potentially were or where they are at the moment, and I think it's a pretty important play here. I guess we could see a lot more like this to some extent. So if you can see over here, Sova's arrow darts are if you're playing pubs, you're never gonna see Sova arrow darts like this. But immediately, as he hears, you possibly can't hear this, or because I have this at a very low volume. But immediately you can see, as he hears a cyber cage, he can immediately peek because he has some basic idea of an info where they are. Now Sova is pretty low, and what he does is wait out. Look at this. Look at this perfect, breach over here. Immediately shoots through the wall, so he doesn't risk dying. And they're having like a bit of fun here, and I'm guessing they even told someone who to pick to actually defuse to get the one orb. I think it's a pretty important factor as well, because I mean, it's not that important when you're playing against diamonds or platinums. Like, I'm gonna be a diamond 3 soon, but if you're playing against immortals and radiants, you're top 10%, and that's where the start really happens. If you're watching this video, even if you're iron, even if you're silver, I think this video will help you out a lot. Now you can see here it's a pretty important round, and what immediately like Sova does is throw some arrow darts. So if you play or main Sova, or if you have a main, basically a mainer, Sova mainer, I think you should definitely teach your friend, or he should teach himself how to have some shock dart tricks, because it's pretty important to actually know at least a few, at least 3 on the map for that example, just seeing how they can actually change the game. Now the Omen here is ready for a smoke, but he got picked off, of course, and immediately trades keep happening. Like, this is not happening on, you know, iron games where someone dies and then someone kills 3 and then a smurf comes in and he has 50 kills. But I'm guessing like closing the door. Now notice how he didn't close the door over here. That's because he didn't give away the info. If he gave away the info, he would have immediately died, but he could pick up 1 more kill, or potentially even more, right? Now I think this is a huge part a lot of people don't actually understand or talk about, is the sound and waiting for your actual teammate. So what TSM is doing over here, they actually wait for the rotation to strike out. You know, he's just Breach is preparing his usual flashes, and they didn't get that push. But I definitely think if the setup wasn't done here already, they could have potentially won this. Now TSM on 100 Thieves was actually one of the most important matches this year. Now notice how Sub Rosa over here actually watches the angles. He doesn't expose himself, he's not out in the open, and I think that's a huge mistake a lot of early anks actually make. I don't see this a lot in Diamond or Platinum, or, you know, Immortal, not even Immortal or Radiant, but in the early ranks, especially because we have a lot of gold watchers over here, we can see that this is a huge issue. Now I'm pretty much surprised that they always have one agent watching with a judge. It's pretty interesting seeing how the shotguns are still in play over here. The judge is still kind of in the long range, actually, surprised or not, but it's waiting basically for flanks or pushes. You could always do that with a Killjoy turret, or, you know, telling your sentinel to place some traps or fuck off. Now, but seriously though, like immediately as the comms arrive, you know, they smoked off short, so because they don't have the clear sight of short. I think Omen smokes are super important, especially as a half Omen main, because nobody picks smokes anyway. It's very much important seeing, you know, how much info you can actually gather versus risk and reward, you know, because if they're gonna start pushing and there's no smokes in between, like someone is gonna die in short and it's not gonna be looking good. And that, by the way, that Sova dart was just beautiful. Like, that was beautiful. I guess sometimes they have cheeky Sova darts where they can hit that off. Like, they push this pretty clearly. I'm guessing someone missed their shots. This guy was basically hiding. It's sometimes better to hide and then fire them, because if, I don't know, if he fired the eye thing, it just wouldn't work out. Now you can see over here that it's the score is 2-2 now, so it's getting a bit closer. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I definitely think that, you know, the 2-2 matches or full gun buy matches are that more important than actually losing, for example, to an eco. Like, the losing to an eco actually turns around the game, while these gun buys actually determine if your score is gonna be good or bad the first half. Now, you can potentially turn around at the first score, but you can just see the teamwork at how Jet smokes off Breach. Now, I see a lot of new players actually just running out in the open. Don't do that. That's not Call of Duty, and it's just simply not gonna work. You can see how, you know, right now they only have 4 players left, so what they're doing is actually doubling down on A. They're giving up the rewards, you know, on B, or, you know, they just put a turret behind because they can't have a player watching for any pushes on B, and instead they're focusing on actually attacking the B side, and it's definitely working for them. Like, looks like the 2 TSM agents are actually saving, while, you know, they're reaping the sweet rewards. I think this is a pretty good example of how you can lead your turn well, because I see a lot of key mistakes where people actually just, you know, watch at A the whole time, and they actually rotate, you know, way too late. They rotate when the spike is already planted, and sometimes they even get picked off when rotating over to the spike. Especially happens in Split, Heaven, you know, not as much as Ascent, but rotation is so important, and I think if TSM had more info this round, they would definitely have won this one. Now, potentially, this one is one of my favorite on this map. Now they have full gun buys. You know, expect a few little shields over here, and an operator. And you're gonna see how an operator is important here if used correctly. So, peaks, are they good? Well, peaks are really good with an operator if you don't miss. And usually, if I could say, if you're a defender and using an operator, I wouldn't advise actually peeking, because it's quite possible that you're gonna miss the shot. Like, it can happen. Like, the reward versus the risk is just not worth it. But what this Jet did is, she did not get any picks, but what she did get is a lot of info. A lot of info. Already they were watching A side, that's right, you know, so they couldn't have pushed A just yet. But notice how they have a lot of map control now. They know they're basically mid, so Jet immediately goes back to B as A is closed off. I think this is a pretty important matter of actually seeing how this stuff works. Like, map control is actually crucial. I don't think you will see this in solo games as much as you will see in ranked, and, you know, probably some streams. We're definitely getting Valorant First Strike tournament today as well. They're basically just trying to hold the side down. I guess it's kind of lost here just because the Jet didn't get the pick. If the Jet was maybe at A, things could have been different. But notice it how he ults, and why is that? Well, he's trying to save the weapon, right? He has no cash at all. Like, Cutler is so low on HP, like, Breach is covering for him. And I don't know how he managed to survive that, by probably not firing back in that matter. I guess what hurt Thieves is just picking it up, right? And that's because they had also some sort of a map control in their aspect, right? I'm guessing, like, you know, Breach and Solo were both going for A main map control, and they were just smoked off. And they just let the A map control to be free, right? And he even got picked off by a bot over here, which is pretty fun. You usually don't see this in ranked. You didn't expect that. And this Killjoy bot, yo, props to whoever put that Killjoy bot over there. Props to you, because it covers all three sides. Now, I fast forward this a few matches, or a few small, matches basically, because it's 6-4 now, and what they have is a very slight eco, I'm pretty sure. It's an eco. Yeah, it's an eco. Notice how they're using sheriffs. You're probably gonna see this in a lot of pro plays. Personally, I use a ghost because I don't recommend you using a sheriff unless you're immortal or above. Just the way it kind of works. If you don't have the TPT top aim, like, the sheriff is not gonna do you any favors. It's gonna hit an enemy for 3, but for that case, just buy a stinger and fight up close range, right? That was a pretty nice shot from Hiko. Notice how he had a really weird positioning, and now he has an extra gun. Now, if you look at this, like, what was this? Omen is not really playing. Omen is actually playing a really safe position. So I guess he TP'd over there. I don't know what actually happened. He got smoked off. And he's playing a really safe position, actually not trying to die and actually going for a retake, which I see is really nice. Like, it's now a 2v2, which is pretty much important. It's very much important. And I see this situation a lot. I'm guessing they're going for a save just by wondering how much time has passed from this, especially because Sova has shock darts. They're trying to get some extra kills from this. Now, Sova, or Hiko for that matter, is actually really confused and it's like, what the heck is going on? Why are they not pushing? Oh, the spike isn't down yet. Well, we gotta plan down the spike. So he actually scans for the enemies. I guess they just killed them off. That's well, that's nice. What else could I say? Like, they killed the planter, from what I see. And I guess that's it for a round. Just not enough time. You know, what else would happen? One has to plant and one has to die. And the game just ends like that. Now it's gonna be a 7-4 scoreline. Now, 100 Thieves actually lost that map 12-4. which I guess, you know, it's completely fine. You're better on some maps, they just weren't performing well. But what we have now is Haven, and Haven is pretty important. Notice how they got complete map control, like complete map control. They were basically, you know, 100 Thieves was playing for a mid retake, and look at this, like a perfect kill off the bat. Perfect 2 kills, and this is just a beautiful play you're never gonna see in solo matches. Like, they're never gonna give a side that easily. They thought it was actually a B push, and there's even like added salt to the wound when they're actually planting on A. That is just amazing. So I don't think that was actually the perfect idea for 100 Thieves to, you know, let go of B or whatever, because, you know, I don't know if most actual teams would notice that in ranked, but TSM definitely took notice of that and completely capitalized on this. Completely, they got off with 3 kills. You know, they got a Jet lurking over here. You know, they're gonna have to kill the Jet first if they wanna, you know, or wait for one. Well, she's gonna get picked off here. I guess it still played out for them just because it was a really weird positioning, but you know, you gotta hold your ground when having these type of sites. They still won in the end, due it to the time. I think it's pretty nice to see that, you know, sometimes risk and reward really seriously pays off. You don't see this a lot in ranked matches, and that's why I really enjoy actually watching matches like this. Now notice how they actually are going in for a force with her Thieves over here. Now, what's the point of this? I 100% would never ever recommend this unless in 2 scenarios. A, you're a pro team that's immortal or higher, and B, it's a really high scoreline. So let's say it's 12-3 or it's like 11-3, and you just have to win a match. You have to win, otherwise it's completely over. And you're gonna lose it. Well, I guess when you're a pro team, you have a lot more potential, and if your team is saving, you should definitely save as well. You can see, like, you know, Hiko didn't actually buy over here completely because he's saving for an operator regardless of how they play, if they save the next round. But if they win, they can make it a 1-1, right? So they completely went for the A push, which, you know, they kind of took notice of that because, but look at this. I don't know why they play like this to play for retakes. I guess them knowing that they will use the utilities first. I don't know if this would ever happen in ranked. In ranked, they would just keep pushing, so you can punish your enemies a lot more. But in pro plays, you kind of notice that there's gonna be a lot of plays like that, where you have to play for a retake. So if it's a 3v3, just wait for your teammates, play for that sweet retake. But in this kind of scenarios, like, what are they gonna do? Are they save this whole round? That's the whole thing. Like, they didn't expect to be an A push, which is pretty much interesting. And they're just respecting TSM right now. Like, look at this. They're respecting them to the full extent. Like, someone dies immediately of 4v5. I think when Jet kind of peaked, it was immediately over, right? So they're just kind of looking for the extra kills to go over here. Because they're just like, oh, if we're not gonna win this round, we can win the next round. And that's completely fine. Sometimes saving is alright, especially at how, you know, you can. Nitro got 2 free kills as well. I really like seeing that. So they're basically doubling down over here, which if it doesn't work out for them, it's gonna look pretty bad, right? And I'm guessing in I guess we could say that ranked matches and actual tournament matches are a lot different, but like, they didn't spot him over here. He got like 2 kills, which was pretty nice. It still makes like a 2v2 situation for some point. And I'm guessing if you're playing against, you know, actual ranked matches, I'm playing solo queue a lot, I would definitely recommend you actually going for the push last round. If you're playing as a team and whatever, you know, you're saving your economy and there's only a 3v5 and you actually want to save and you're a pre-made team, then sure, go for it if you're watching this with your friends. And greatly appreciate that, by the way, if you're actually watching my videos with friends or sending this to your friends or anything in that matter. But for 100 Thieves, now that they lost this, like, Hiko has nothing to lose anymore. Like, he's just like, kill me, please. Like, they really messed up because they last save, and huge respect to what RIOT Thieves, by the way, before we get anything wrong, as they're really good. They can buy now anyway. They saved the last round. They were kind of, I guess they could still have went for the push, which really confused me because yes, they forced, but I'm guessing they could still have pushed that. I'm not an expert in these, but they could still buy now, which is pretty much fine for now. I'm guessing, like, it's really not that bad. So if they win this one, it's gonna be looking all good for them, right? But will that happen? Notice at how, you know, they immediately know where someone is located, and like the two Phoenix battles are going crazy. The bad thing here is, though, when you have your teammates, and even that doesn't matter if it's a tournament or ranked, when you have your teammates, you will always get that sort of extra backup over here, and it will always end up in your favor, no matter what's the cost. Now, this happens at ranked games a lot, as you might notice. But usually they make a slight rotation, looking at, maybe we can try B, maybe we can try A, you know, all through someone is looking there at A, being patient as, you know, as much as possible. They can actually, you know, say, hey, we got enough time. We don't actually have to overextend this and push this for any matter at all. We can just wait for some pushes as well. And RIOT Thieves is patient here, as you can see as well. They're saying basically, oh yeah, we can wait for your push as well. But I think in this matter, it actually helps TSM more. So if you have more players and you're in ranked, they have less players, there is no reason to actually push the side unless they have a lot of utilities or ults or whatever on C side, and then you want to go to A side. Hey, that works completely fine. But when RIOT Thieves couldn't really control the whole map there, and it also applies to, you know, playing in ranked. You can't control the full map when you only have 2 players. One player will actually have to make like 3 kills or whatever. And this was a really good thing Sava did over here. I think it was Omen. They knew someone was here. Oh, okay. Never mind. It showed the enemies. Now they all went wrong, and they can just spam log. I'm hoping they can fix this in the future, because like with Sava ults and shit, like, you know, I don't, you know, they can't do much. They can just go for the defuse. 4 people actually shooting at this, and they just get mowed down. Like, this is crazy. You see how this works? Like, it never goes out for your favor. What RIOT Thieves could have actually done here, yeah, they should have stick with it, or they could have saved the guns, because now they have to save again, and it's looking 4-0 for TSM. Now this has to be one of my favorite plays in this map, or my what do you say, the favorite score, or whatever you could call it. Notice how Jet immediately gets a pick with an operator, and this is where picks with operators and really greedy ones at that point really pick off. Even like the Omen smoke couldn't stop her, and she immediately goes back. They have some basic info that the Omen is there, and you know, they're not up for it. You know, and I guess this is completely fine, especially when playing, again, I have to say it, in ranked. Your teammates will usually not follow you completely unless you all have communication, you all have mics. Don't go for those, you know, really greedy pushes when it's all smoked off, when you have like 30 Killjoy nanoswarps in there, 3 alarm bots, and 5 cipher traps. You don't actually wanna, you know, go into that, but you can do it like, be like, instead of, hey, I could just be behind and have fun over there. Now they almost messed up this round. I have to spoil it for you, but basically, you know, this is just a cheeky play that didn't work off. Luckily, they got this round. This was a really important round, actually, because this was a stepping stone on how they go back. Now, I wanted to actually pick a match where, or a score, or whatever do you call it, where they have no abilities for the time being at the start of the round. So notice what happens. Like, the Jet doesn't actually shoot just yet. She misses that shot, which, you know, it costs her a lot of potential. You know, luckily Hiko shoots him over there, so it's definitely very wise to have some sort of backup. And now they have a Cypher cam, like they have enough info to know nobody is gonna be over there. And this is beautiful. Look at this. This is beautiful. If you push in alone, this is what happens. Like, I'm supposing this was a fake or a flank move. It didn't work out because, you know, the other Omen was just like, this is not gonna work out. If you look at over here, I guess this is the best way to actually use the Sova ult. Some people use it at the start, but these are actually closer angles, so you can use the Sova ult either to delay the spike, for that matter, and that was a beautiful shot. Now, if you get trade-offs, that definitely helps, and that's what they did. Now it's a 4-8, which they really didn't. Now, this has to be one of the final rounds. It's 6-11 now, so it just didn't work out well for 100 Thieves. And if you can see how long they actually saved on this map for some apparent reason, because they don't want to fight them, they were losing potential rounds, and that's what makes a difference in the end. It's a huge difference if it's 8-11 or if it's 6-11 for that matter, just because the way the tempo works, you know. If you can get 2 rounds, you can get the 3rd round with an eco much easier, and that's what I really like about Valorant. The vice versa can also happen. So if you break their economy, which is going to be really hard if they have 9k and whatever, you can still do it. It's still possible. I'm guessing, you know, it's pretty much we're seeing here like TSM just aimed them out, and it was pretty nice seeing something like that. It's definitely shocked me that 100 Thieves didn't win that, just because how strong they actually are. I do have a video on Hiko as well, and they did lose this out, and this should hopefully give you some insight of how these pro teams actually play and work in the end. Anyway, this is Fatman. Hopefully you subscribe for more videos, Valorant videos. And yeah, this is Fatman. Sign out. Peace, guys.